Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my day one port review of Gears of War 5. Not Gears 5, I think that's a stupid name. Okay, like it or not, this is a pretty big release for the end of the year, and I say that because a lot of people didn't like Gears of War 4, especially the campaign. I despised it. I've made several videos on that. But this one's seeming to be a little bit better. Now, we're not going to be really diving into the campaign. I might give some brief thoughts on it here, but that'll be a full video in and of itself, because we're going to be looking at the PC port today. There are a couple major features missing, or in beta, and we're going to be getting into that. We're also going to be looking into the options menu. Alright, so let's browse over the campaign here. Full mouse control in the menu, which is very nice, as well as the use of the arrow keys. You can have multiple save slots, which is always appreciated. If we go to the continue slot, it takes a second to load here, but you have the option of local split screen co-op in the campaign, which is pretty baller. Now, here's the problem. This is only where split screen is available. In the Xbox One version, which I happen to have, you can do split screen in versus mode, and escape, and horde mode. I've tried accessing all three of these on the PC version. I've plugged in multiple controllers, Xbox One controllers, and nothing happens. Basically, when you enter the campaign, you have the option of just, when you plug in the controller, like, instead of saying F9 to join, it just says press A to join or whatever. Or press Y to join. I'm sorry, I can't really remember which one, but it doesn't matter. But it lets you join. But on the Xbox One version, it doesn't work for these. It kind of just gives you this very blank menu. And by the way, you can do custom games for everything, which is nice, as well as LAN mode, which is really cool. But the Xbox One version shows this same screen. However, if before you enter this screen, you log in with a local profile on the second controller, which you can't obviously do on PC, it'll show a split screen, but not here. So that's a little bit frustrating. Are we getting versus mode? Because it said in the press review a while ago in June, hey, we're going to have local split screen escape mode, which is the new mode, on PC. So, like, okay, we have campaign definitely right now. We have escape coming? In, like, it's going to be out in, like, about a week. I don't understand. And then you have versus and horde mode, nowhere to be heard of or seen or whatever. I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of, like, the PC version. I have to do, like, a treasure hunt for information. I have to contact, like, PR representatives because they just don't bother putting it in the game or even in the press release. It's so frustrating, and I'm sick of that because everyone thinks, like, oh, it's split screen. Who cares about split screen? People still obviously do if they're using it. I'm sorry, it's just really, really stupid and frustrating. I mean, Forza 6, like, Microsoft always says, like, oh, we have this ubiquitous platform. We're gonna give, this perfect, ability to share and make sure your games are synced up with each other with the power of Xbox. I'm Phil Spencer. This is how I talk. I like to jerk myself off. But it's like, okay, Forza 6 doesn't have split screen on PC. Gears of War 4, I think, was a little bit gimped on PC for the split screen. Although I could be wrong about that. My memory's a little bit foggy because I hated that game. Anyway, let's get into the controls because, and the other options because, I mean, other than the split screen, this is actually a very, very, very good PC port. This is running on an 8700K with a 1070 Ti at 1440p, and I don't go below 50 FPS on, like, a bad day, which is nice. Okay. Control scheme, you have several presets here. You can rebind your controls, but only to other buttons. So you kind of don't know what these are until, like, if you play Gears of War, you probably do. But there are going to be some controls where it's like hit X and Y, or, up and X, and it's a little bit weird. Because, multiple buttons do one action. Look sensitivity, target sensitivity, all kinds of ways to tweak your gameplay. So you can remove aim acceleration from your controller if you want to do that. You can calibrate the dead zones, which is interesting. Vibration, inversion, that's always nice to see. Button tap challenges, this is also in the accessibility options. Basically, you can, for QTEs or whatever, you can do press and hold or quick taps, which is very nice. Microsoft has really been on the ball with helping out disabled gamers. You know, veterans, people who were born without, like, thumbs, stuff like that. Basically, a lot of people don't realize this, but in, like, QuickTime events, some games, people just cannot complete them because they just do not have it in their fingers to tap a button fast enough. So pressing and holding is better for them, and sometimes it's vice versa. So that's always nice to see. Okay. Game options. We're going to be breezing through most of these. I just want to give you the highlights here. I don't want to make this video an hour long. Minimap rotation, kill cam, automatic reload. You know, nice to see. HUD abilities. So this is interesting. A lot of people were getting a little bit worried when they saw health bars over enemies in this game. You can turn that off. I would rather see, you know, damage just shown on the enemies as you damage them, but, you know, this is the next best thing, so that's cool. Text chat on, that's kind of cool that you can turn that off. Split screen formats for 2 players. Horizontal or vertical, which is always appreciated. I love it when games give you that option, because some games you want to play vertically, and some games you want to play horizontally. Alright, default quality. You know, you got your presets right here for your video options. I don't know why I just said default, I should just say video options. You have full screen and windowed mode, although full screen is still kind of borderless windowed mode. This is the Steam version, by the way. There is a Universal Windows Platform app version from the Microsoft Store. If you buy that digitally, you get a copy of the Xbox One version for free. Windows resolution sync, and these, I should also say, sorry, all versions are save syncable. They should be, at least. My Xbox One version is not syncing with this version's save. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a pre-release copy. This game's not even out for Ultimate Edition owners, and it won't be out for retail owners till, like, you know, another week. So, a week and a half. So, yeah, it should be working like that, and, yeah, save sync it's cross-save, it's cross-play with Xbox One players depending on the mode you're playing, and Windows players should be able to play with each other regardless, as long as you've logged in with an Xbox Live profile, which you do not have to pay for on Windows. You do have to pay for it on Xbox One. Haha. And there is, in addition to Xbox Save Sync, there is Steam Cloud. Thought I'd mention that just in case, for some reason, Microsoft dies in the next 50 years and they don't have their cloud servers, but Steam still does. Also, people like Steam Cloud a lot more. Vertical sync, minimum frame rate, maximum frame rate, and cinematic frame rate. Pretty cool options, but cinematic frame rate I like quite a bit, because instead of having the cutscenes run at 30, like in Ultimate Edition for Gears of War 1, they can jump right back up to 60, or unlimited in this case, and they just don't feel like, they look good. They look really good in motion. I like it a lot, and they just don't look jarring when you go from a 60 or 120 FPS game to 30 FPS locked cutscenes. Mass Effect 3 did that. There is a problem right now. There is some hitching. I don't know if that's probably because I have it on unlimited and everything's not fully tested. Again, this is an early access version, but there is some major hitching on some cutscenes right now, and it just kind of stops basically. But hopefully that's going to get fixed. It's not as consistent. It's not like every cutscene, but it's, you know, it's happened to 2 of them. Cinematic scaling mode, VL to view, always nice to have in a third-person shooter. Pretty cool. Show stats, you can have a little counter if you don't have your own. I do. NVIDIA Shadowplay at the top left there. HUD safe zone calibration, you know, for your TV or monitor. Alright. Now that's just the video, like, preferential options and, like, some monitor stuff. Here's where the graphics options are. Holy crap, look at this. We're just going to be blasting through these because most of you already know what this is, and I don't know what the rest are, so there we go. You have an option to install Ultra XD textures. They look great. Everything runs really well. I have most of the stuff on Ultra right here, so effects, textures, shadows. You also have an option for animation quality. I guess that's animation transitions. They look good, I'll tell you that. Detail, foliage, all that stuff. So the game runs very well, as I was saying earlier. 1440p near Ultra. There are some things I don't have at full Ultra, like ambient occlusion can be a little bit higher, but usually there's like a massive performance degradation. It even says it right here. But, I mean, other than that, it looks very nice. Tessellation, screen space, refractions, you know. Everything is mostly on ultra or ultra high. So, yeah, and you can also, if you have a laptop with integrated graphics, but also a GPU, you can switch between here to avoid like any little issues with it. Sometimes selecting the CPU as the GPU, which it really sucks. And then there's a diagnostics mode. This is a really well thought out PC port, and let's actually benchmark it because they do have a tool. So this is going to be on a 1070 Ti, 8700K, and running at near ultra settings. Obviously, this is a system that's going to be running most people, if you can pinch your pennies, probably closer to $1,000. So yeah, the particle effects do drop the game a little bit down, but it still stays pretty solid. So yeah, as you can see, runs pretty damn good. Yeah, I know that this system's nearly $1,000, but, you know, when you play other games that are like, I don't know, Dark Souls 3 or Monster Hunter World when that game came out, and they just ran horribly at, like, high 1080p because of poor optimization. This runs light years better. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's have a look at the other options menu, and then let's load a campaign mission. So yeah, optimized for higher-end systems, and I'm hearing good things about AMD cards as well, which is nice, unlike Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which ran like garbage, and I was there to tell you that, and it still runs like garbage, even on newer cards. Okay, let's get back into that. I know people want to see the game more in action, but, you know, bear with me. Again, that might be coming later. If you want to see a single-player video, leave a like or drop a comment and say, hey, man, I'd like to see that. Alright. Audio options. This game does support Dolby Atmos and a whole home theater system, so if you like sound, well, there you go. And you also have some extra options right here, like cinematics volume and environmental volume, which is very, very nice. Love it when games like go crazy with these options, you just kind of tweak whatever you want. Mouse settings, you know, pretty straightforward right here. Zoom sensitivity, which is kind of nice, actually. Look, aim, smoothing, that's off by default. They did say that when you're, when it was in the beginning tutorial, they're like, oh yeah, so if you're playing on easy, we're gonna have auto aim on. And I didn't notice that when I was moving the mouse and keyboard around, when I was shooting, so I don't know, maybe that's controller only. But you do have full mouse prompts in the game. It's not like anything here is messed up or broken. Key bindings. Secondary options, which is very nice, and you have fully rebindable primaries, which is cool. Matchmaking, nothing really here, but it does show you the ping of all the servers, just kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at. Mature content, if you don't want to have any fun, or if you have a crazy wife, or you know, maybe you got a kid. Maybe you got a kid who's like, you know, 7, you don't want him to, you know, see all that stuff. Accessibility, this is very, very nice. So you have colorblind options, you actually have 3 of these. I don't know what these mean, I know they mean different types of colorblindness, but you know, it's cool that they, it's not just off or on, they just have like the different types, which is cool. Campaign camera shake. This is nice that you can turn this off. In the original Gears of War, on 360 when that first came out, the camera shake was nauseating some people. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me in this game, so I just did turn it off. It's not nauseating, though. It's nice you can turn it off. PvE camera shake. Yeah. You know, just for different levels of difficulty. Target lock on beginner difficulty, so that's the auto-aim thing. I guess it's off by default anyway, which is cool for the PC version. Fabricator ping, subtitles. Subtitle size, very nice to have. Some games you'd be surprised, even modern games. Like Fear, like that game came out in 2004, and it just doesn't scale to even, like, you know, 1080p resolution monitors. Then you have Monster Hunter World. That game on launch, like, text was so tiny on a TV you couldn't even see it, so they had to update it. It still looks tiny as hell. It just doesn't scale because all these games are tested on monitors. They don't test it on TVs where everyone's playing split screen or whatever, or on console. Button tap challenges again. It's right here. Vibration, text to speech, and speech to text, which is crazy. And then stick swapping, which is kind of interesting. When enabled, aiming down sight swaps the left and right stick controls. That's actually kind of cool. A lot of people like that. It's like this weird competitive thing they're going for here, but also very accessible. Single stick movement. Font size. Yeah, it's just nice to have these options. It's really cool. Like, not even just for people who are disabled, but for people like who just like, I just wish that would be a little bit bigger. It's just nice. Okay. So, let's have a look-see at the campaign. We're going to be doing Act 1, because I don't want to go any too far than that, because embargoes and spoilers and all that stuff. So, let's get right into it. Now, I haven't been able to figure out how to skip cutscenes in this game. You can't do it on a controller if you hold B. Maybe if you hold space? I don't know. We're gonna try that right now, see if we can do it. Loading times are not too long. Do hang a little bit here, but you know, they are loading long. Oh, you know what? We're not even going to be doing that. We're just going to be picking up where I left off in the other failed video I tried to do.
We're coming down.
Yeah. So once again, 1070 Ti, 1440p, above 60. If you're running like a 580 or something like that, something a little bit more budget-oriented, you might have to crank it down to 1080.
Send a pulse and let's see what we're dealing with.
If you want 4K, you could probably run it, but you need to crank down the settings a little bit.
I'll take care of this one. There they are.
Texture detail and overall quality is pretty good depending on where you look. I mean, obviously the Rebel doesn't look that great, but the character models look amazing. The hair in particular looks pretty good. Now, if you're wanting some of my brief opinions about the campaign, I'll give you some of them right now, so you don't have to wait for, like, you know, a 30-minute video or whatever. It's good so far. I like it a lot more than 4. The biggest problem with 4 I had was that every character was a goddamn vending machine, full of dialogue. You always had, like, 3 or 4 people walking around with you, just nattering off constantly. You know, there's some people right here right now. There's 4. But, in later missions and, like... I imagine because there's only, like, you know, you only play as 2 gears at a time, there's going to be less people nattering around, and the dialogue is a lot better. It's actually, like, funny this time. I'd say if you wanted, like, an original Gears of War experience, linear level design, it doesn't look like it's going that way. You're looking at different, like, ways of how they're shooting the cinematics. More like back and forth with like camera panning. It's not like you know, control, this is Delta. Drop the hammer and like shoot more locusts. It's there's more cinematics. There's more
I think we can get down this way.
you know, not like replacements to the walk and talks, but I'd say they're not as frequent to interrupt the gameplay. And then these little things are back where you have to, you know, press E to hold. They're not as frequent as in the Gears of War 4, but, you know, then again, the beginning of Gears of War 4 was actually very good, and it didn't have a ton of that either. Characters are a little bit more likable this time around, again, because of the dialogue. They're just, in general, a little bit better. They're a little bit more pronounced, like the personalities are a little bit different. Kate seems to be the more vulnerable one this time around. James is the more brash character, kind of like his dad. Dell is a little bit more sympathetic. They fleshed them out a little bit better so you can actually, like, characterize them. And the gameplay is a little bit, in general, better. Sound effects for the guns are a little bit better. The graphics obviously help, the blood effects and even the oil when you, like, kill different enemies. That's well pronounced, that's nice. Sounds from shooting guns, the gunplay is a tiny bit more improved. I'd say it's enough to make it above average, whereas in Gears of War 4 it was just kind of average. It wasn't... I mean, everything, like, about Gears of War 4 made, like, the above average, what should have been above average gunplay be, like, below it. I'd say the level design is a little bit more improved, so everything just becomes, like, this nicer package where everything is just a little bit better. Just a little bit better, enough to be above average or even exceptional in some cases. I'm actually having, like, a lot of fun. I'm not really paying attention here, but that is it for Gears of War 5 on the PC, the ports. The multiplayer seems to work fine. There's no big issues yet. But then again, there's not a lot of people playing it because, you know, only press and high-skill players have a copy, and I just get destroyed, so there's no real, like, skill comparison yet. I am very thankful that Microsoft gave me a copy early because... Damn, I'm really looking forward to playing a lot of this. I'm hoping that I can play it locally with friends, though. Make sure that, you put that in before launch. There's a map editor, which is also in beta. I don't know how pronounced it's going to be. I couldn't really tell you much about that. But the main thing is that, there's not going to be any Steam Workshop, I can guarantee you that, if they want parity with the console version. Maybe they'll have, like, some... approved version on, I don't know. It's gonna be weird, but you're probably gonna have to go through Microsoft's official system. I mean, they did it right with Halo back in 2007, so maybe they'll do it right with this game. Maybe they'll have like this new custom mode, like you can like interact with all your maps from your other games and like all the feature sets. Maybe they'll make it kind of like similar to each other. I don't know. Like with Master Chief Collection when that comes out on PC. But anyway, guys, this is it for Gears of War 5. Probably expect a video. Let me know. This video is kind of getting a little bit lengthy. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.